So I already have my front panel for the blazer jacket, and I have marked out all the horizontal lines here. This jacket is a long jacket. It's a bit lower at the hip line side. So at the neckline, we're going to create a new neckline. We'll come down from the center front by 1/4 inch. So on the shoulder slope, we'll go in from that point by 1/4 inch, and from that point that we just marked, we'll go up by 1/4 inch. Then we'll connect the points together to create a new neckline, just like this. So we're going to extend the shoulder slope. We're going to extend the shoulder slope. The same method we use in extending the neckline, we'll do that on the shoulder slope. So from that point, we'll go up by 1/4 inch. By 1/4 inch. No, this 1/4 inch is just a guide. Then from that point that we marked, we'll go out by 1/4 inch. Then we'll connect the points together. That's from the shoulder slope to the neckline. We'll connect the points together. So we have created a new shoulder slope. And now we have to extend the armhole. We'll go down by 1/2 inch. Then we'll connect that point to the new shoulder slope point. We'll connect it with our curved ruler. We'll connect it like so. We'll connect it like so. Now we'll add 1/2 inch at the side seam. We'll add 1/2 inch all the way down. Note this 1/2 inch is for the blazer jacket, because our jacket is not meant to be as tight as our normal gown or blouse. So I use my curved ruler to connect these, and also use my straight ruler to connect it to the bust point. I prefer using my straight ruler to connect it to the bust point because it doesn't add too much excess to the pattern. So now we have to create the collar stand. From the bust point there, we'll go up by 2 inches. Then we'll connect it from that our new shoulder slope neckline there. We'll go out by 1 inch. From that 1 inch, we'll connect it to the point where we marked for our collar stand. So for us to create the break point, we'll first add 1 inch for the button extension. We'll add 1 inch for the button extension. Then from that waistline, our waistline, will go up by 2 inches. We'll go up by 2 inches and mark. Then we'll extend our button stand to that point. So that point now is now our break point. Is now our break point. So we're connecting the collar stand to the break point. Then we'll connect the 1 inch collar stand. We'll connect it all the way down as shown in the video. So now we're going to create our lapel. Note, you can make your lapel as wide as you want. You can make it 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches. You can even make it 6 inches or as wide as you want, depending on what you want to create. But I'm going to make this 3 inches because I don't want it to be too big. I want it to just be a normal standard lapel. So from that point, I'll connect it down to the break point with my curved ruler. So now, to create the collar, we're going to address the back panel. The same method we use in extending the neckline for the front panel, we'll repeat the same method for the back panel. So from the center back at the neckline, we'll go down by 1/4 of an inch, and at the shoulder slope we'll go in by 1/4 of an inch. From that point we'll go up by 1/4 of an inch. Then we connect the points together. And we'll also repeat the same method for the shoulder slope. We'll go up by 1/4 of an inch. From that point we'll go out by 1/4 of an inch and connect the points like so. Remember, we also went down at the armhole. We extended the armhole by 1/2 inch for the front panel. We'll also do same for the back panel, and then we'll connect it to our new shoulder slope point, just like so. So we'll add 1/2 inch at the side. Remember, this 1/2 inch is for ease. Your blazer jacket shouldn't be as fitted as your normal gown or blouse. This 1/2 inch is for ease. Sorry, my marker pen isn't showing properly here, but I hope you can see this. Note, there shouldn't be any sharp edge on the cloth. You have to blend it with your free hand. There shouldn't be no sharp edge. So at the center back, at the waistline there, remember our back is curved, so we have to create a curve at the back. At that waistline, we'll go in by half of an inch, then we'll connect it to the bust line and down. Note, I didn't remember to add the half inch that I took away from the center back. Please make sure you add it to the side so that the cloth does not become small. You add it to the side. So I'm connecting the line like this. Make sure you replace the half inch to the side. The half inch I just took from the back to the side. So we're done with this. We'll have to measure the neckline for the back to create our collar. So I'm going to measure it as shown in the video. And whatever I get here, I would add 1 cm to it while drafting the collar stand. Sorry, while drafting the collar. So now we refer back to our front panel to draft out our collar. Remember what we took at the neckline for the back panel. That is what we're going to use as our collar height. So it depends on how wide. Remember how wide we took our collar. Remember how wide it is. So we are going to make sure. Sorry, my baby is seeking for attention. So we are going to measure our collar height. Remember, we took 3.5. So we are going to add 1 cm to it. Note, this 1 cm is for ease. This 1 cm is for ease. We're going to add 1 cm to it. I reduced the collar the wideness of the collar. I reduced it by 2.5 inch. I didn't make it 3.5 inches again. I changed my mind on that. So for the collar height, remember what we took at the neckline plus 1 cm. Then we'll connect it on that 1 inch that we took out. Please note, not on the neckline. That's 1 inch we took out. We'll connect it like so, and then do the same on the other side. Then connect. This is how you create your collar height. This is how you create your collar height.
Mommy.
So now we're going to make, you remember our back neckline is not straight, it is curved. So from that lapel line, we'll go up by 3/4 of an inch. No, this is just a guide for where I want my collar to end, and then at that center front there, we'll go up to by 1/4 of an inch, then 3/4 of an inch, then we connect it to our collar. We'll connect it to our collar like so. So that's the break point. That is how you create the breakpoint for the collar. I hope you can vision it as shown in the pattern. I hope you can vision it, but we're not done yet with our collar, as our back neck is not straight. Our back neck is not straight. You can see as shown in the video. So from that collar point there, the center back of the collar point there will go out by half of an inch. Then we'll connect it and create a curve, a smooth curve with our curved ruler. We'll connect it. Create a curve with our curved ruler. Like so. We'll create a curve like so. Note, the curve should end at that point, that center front point where you created your collar stand. So we now, where you created your collar break point. So we now have our collar. This part that I am marking would go out. We are not making use of that part. We'll be cutting it out. So now we are done with our front pattern. We'll go ahead and add our seam allowance, but before we go ahead to do that, we'll have to trace out the collar on a fresh paper. So I have done that, and I am going to add half of an inch all around, and also indicated the center back of the collar. So I have done that and indicated it with an arrow. That will be the center back of our collar. Note, when you are sewing, make sure you hold the allowances that you added to it. Do not hold less or more. So now we'll go ahead and add our seam allowance all around. Then if you want to leave it as a normal dart like this, you can, but if you want to leave it as princess dart, you can. All you need to do is to divide your armhole by 2. You divide it by 2. And mark. Then from that point, you use your curved ruler to connect it straight to your bust point, just like I am doing now. So I'll go ahead and add all my seam allowances that I need for the sewing of the jacket. And then I'll add 1 inch at the hemline and 1 inch at the side seam. But you can also make it ½ inch. You can make it 1 inch, but I prefer to make mine 1 inch to be on the safe side. I'll add 1 inch all the way on the side seam. Then I'll go ahead and join everything together with a different marker pin. I'll also repeat same on the back panel. I'll also create my princess dart on the back panel. Remember, that was the same thing we did for the front panel. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll cut out the pattern. So at this edge here, I do not want to leave it as a sharp point like that. I'll just have to use my free hand to give it a nice curve, and I'll also do that on the other panel. So I'm just going to measure what I have there to make it equal. So I'm going to curve it as shown in the video. So we'll go ahead and cut out our pattern. So I have cut out the pattern, but I haven't detached the princess dart yet. So that's the front pattern, that's the back panel, and then this is the collar. This is the collar. So I'll go ahead and cut out that part. We don't need it. We don't need that part. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So I have separated the princess dart, and I'll go ahead and cut it on the fabric. Note, the princess darts that we cut out, you will have to add half inch seam allowance. Half-inch seam allowance, please, dear soulmate. You have to add half-inch seam allowance. So for the front center front, where you have the lapel, when you are cutting your lining, you cut the front as fabric, then the back you can add a facing to the back with your main fabric, same as the front panel, so that by the time you turn your lapel, it is the fabric that you see, not your lining. With that, you have a good finishing. So we'll go ahead and cut it on the fabric. Note, I did not cut I couldn't find the video for the sleeve. It's a straight 3/4 sleeve. I couldn't find the video, but